Hello and welcome to your remote clay workshop. My name is Diane McCormick and I've been an artist for over 30 years working in rural County Tyrone in Arboe. Our project's taken place in conjunction with Coal Island and East Tyrone Great Place Scheme and the Crack Theatre. So today we're going to run some remote workshops so that you can get your boxes with your clay and tools, and hopefully you'll be able to follow the sequence that I'm going to show you now, and we can make our bits and pieces for the ceramic art piece that's going up in the Crack Theatre. Now the inspiration behind the piece brings together lots of different things from the Coal Island area. It brings together all the historic manufacturing processes that took place in the past, your brickworks, glassworks, pottery, and maybe some parts of the mining industry. We're also going to look at maybe place names, your townlands, and perhaps bring in maybe some things that you want to bring in yourself. You know, I had hoped to be able to meet everybody face to face in groups of 10, but due to COVID I think it's not going to happen. What it doesn't mean is you can still contact me and we can still maybe try and get some ideas going for that. So we're just going to get started and I'll talk as we go along. Alright, so first of all we're just going to show you what's in the box that should have been delivered to you. Everything's been sterilised and it's ready to use, and the next person that uses it, it'll all be washed again and sterilised, ready to use. So, within your box you should get a rolling pin, 2 sticks for guides, a piece of material for rolling out on, a box of like little stamp tools. Some of them are made in clay and some of them are made out of metal and bits of wood. This is a set of lettering. So that's that. And then you'll maybe get a selection of cutters, cookie cutters. So this could be just a couple of different things, and some clay tools, a knife, and some press tools. And you might also get a selection of, these are just cardboard cutouts that I'm going to use for templates, and a small board for rolling out on. So what I suggest you do is clear space on your table. Just find somewhere on a kitchen table to work on. You can put newspapers or you can put a cloth down, but what we're using is just clay that can be washed off everything. You can also maybe get a kitchen knife if you don't want to use these plastic knives. You know, just an ordinary kitchen knife. I'll show you that in a minute. Okay, so to start off with, you have your table cleared. You've got all your tools and everything set out on the side. You're just going to put your board down. You're going to put your piece of material down on top. These 2 sticks that you get on either side of your clay, they're really just to gauge how thick your clay will go. So you put those on either side of your material. And then your clay comes wrapped up in a bit of plastic. It's just to stop it from drying out. So what you can do is take a piece of clay off your pile here, just about fist size. Sometimes it's quite sticky. And then just cover everything back over again and set it to the side, just to stop it from drying out. So you can put your bit of clay here in the middle. You can flatten it a bit with your hands as well. And this is the kitchen knife I was talking about. You can use any kind of a sharp knife if you want, or you can use just your knife that's in the pack. So, okay, now don't try to roll out your clay all in one go. Just do a little bit in the middle and then turn it over roll it again. And if it comes to a point where you've rolled it too much and it's sticking to your rolling pin, just take it off and start again, you know. And sometimes if it sticks to the material, you can actually just peel it off. And once you can't roll it any further, it's as thick as your bits of sticks on either side. So that's your rolling out your clay, that's the easy bit. So I've rolled out a second piece of clay here. Which is a bit bigger. And I forgot to say, sometimes it's handy to have some newspaper. Once you get your clay rolled out, it's rather than sticking to the surfaces you're going to put it on, you can just transfer it to a piece of newspaper or a magazine, it doesn't really matter. And I would tend to roll out all my clay first. Well, roll out a few bits first so that you have plenty to work with. And then you can get rid of all your sticks and things. So, within this big bit of clay, we're going to cut out maybe this cog shape. So you can take your knife, you can take a plastic knife or your kitchen knife, and put your stencil down and just cut around it. Now, I always find it easier if you keep your knife straight up and down. And just go around the edge. And if you have a knife with a sharp pointed end, it's always handier to get into the corners. This clay we're using, well, I'm going to give you a few different kinds of clay. Clays tend to, you can get different colour clays. You can get white clay, and this is a terracotta colour clay. Whenever it's fired, and firing just means heating it up to over 1,000 degrees, it'll change to a red colour. It'll actually change to this sort of colour here. It undergoes a chemical change in the kiln, just makes it as hard as a rock. And this clay came actually from somebody near Pomeroy who was digging out their garden, and I got a few bags of clay, which I never really used for anything, but this clay should be nice red. And I've also got like a buff, this is like a buff coloured clay. It's more of a sort of pale kind of, see if we've got any of that. It's more like a pinkish colour when it's fired, pinky red. And that's just the impurities that are in the clay. Sometimes more iron will give you a redder colour. If you want a really white clay, it's what they call china clay. And if you want to buy clay, there's a couple of suppliers in Northern Ireland. One's Scarborough Pottery Supplies and the other is Ulster Ceramics. Okay, so I've cut this rough shape out. I'm just going to take my stencil off, and I'm just going to peel these bits off here. So these bits here can be rolled up and used again. In fact, I would leave this bigger bit, you can maybe cut something else out of it. You'll also have some stencils in your box. So it might be this shape, or it might be this shape, or maybe a square or a smaller hexagonal shape. Or I also have these circles as well. And they're actually just cookie cutters. You know, you can buy lots of things specifically for clay, but you can also use a lot of things that are in your kitchen. You know, I brought this old potato masher in, which might be quite good to put a texture on things. I've also got like boxes of it could be children's toys, or I mean, there's a shoe from Barbie's friend Ken. I don't know where he lost his other shoe. Things like piping nozzles. Whenever you press those into your clay, you can get patterns. So I have endless boxes with different things in them. You'll have some things with cog shapes in them. But really, if you want to gather up some things of your own, please feel free to do so. Wallpaper's brilliant if you've got textured wallpaper. Also things like shells. Shells make a nice pattern. Sometimes if your children have toys that are like little stamps, they're quite good for stamping clay. We've endless boxes with shells in them. Shells are pretty good for stamping clay as well. So whatever you can find, really. Even stuff from your garden. Now these are my boxes of things that I used to texture my clay with. So it could be a bit of a cloth with a pattern on it. Sometimes bits of vegetation, leaves, they're quite good for peeling or pressing into clay, and then you can peel them off again. Anything that's got a pattern on it, really, even toys, you could press those feet into your clay and see what you kind of example you get from that. I keep endless bits of rubbish, tops from, this is a top of tomato puree, but you could see you could roll it into your clay to get a ridged line, or you can press this end to get something different. Buttons are quite good if you've got interesting buttons. I'm just going to say there's a box full of shells here. Now some of these might work better than others. I think it's just a matter of just gathering things up and finding what's good and what's not. So these ones here, shells are quite good. That's a fossil. I was just saying about bits of toys. Sometimes I think that's Cindy's tennis racket. Again, these bits from piping bags. Even something as simple as a tool set or a screwdriver set. This screwdriver set has got loads of like star head shapes in it, so they're quite good for just pressing into your clay. There's another set for ends of pens. All those different ends of pens have a different pattern on them. So again, they could be stamped into your clay. And things in the kitchen, like this potato peeler, which I'm going to try. Looks quite impressive, but it may not. Sometimes the things that you think are going to be really good aren't quite as good. And sometimes the very simple things are what works best. Now this is where the harder part comes in. Is now you've got your shape cut out, and you're happy enough with the size of it and everything. What are you going to put onto it? Now, what I would suggest to you is before you actually start on your piece, in case you ruin it, I know it doesn't matter. You can roll it out and start again. But if you take these bits of clay that were cut off around the edge and try some things out on them, because you just don't know what you get. So if you roll out a few bits just to test, and now you can see what I mean by using the ends of your pens, Your end of your pen will give you that. This one could be used for an edge for something. It's almost like a shell. Not sure. Yeah, that actually looks a bit like a cog, that middle bit. There's an old necklace. Try it on a different one. You may even just want to use part of it, you know, you could use the bit of it to ground an edge. Like that. I shall try this part of a hedge. Now you have to use your rolling pin to roll these in. And this is the added bonus of having a nice smell actually, when you roll your rolling pin over it. So you can see that gives you quite a good impression. Let's have a look in here. These cogs were just put onto a wooden base just because it's easier to get them out. So these are quite interesting. And there's one on each end, and then there are clay ones that I made as well. Some of them might work better than others. It's knowing how hard to press them down. So that's what they give you. So once you're satisfied with all the different, and I'd say this is quite important to do this before you start onto that. I'll try this one. This one looks interesting, but it may not be. That's quite interesting. Alright, so once you're happy, and you could actually even draw it out in paper what you're going to put onto your clay piece. So what I'm going to start with this one, I'm going to put this material on top of it and just gently press it down, just to give us a base. Just gently roll it with your rolling pin. And you can do this before you start to cut out your shape, you know, so you just peel it off and see if you've got everywhere. Okay. Now, I think I might use these cogs for this one. Well, I was talking about maybe some lettering to go around it. What I thought might be nice is we'll put some townlands on it. Now, I've made some of the shuttle shapes and I've got quite a few townlands on it, but I haven't got anything much outside the immediate Coal Island area. So say if you're around New Mills or the Washing Bay or Stewartstown, you could maybe put your townlands on the outside of that. Now, these letters are quite small, so they're a bit fiddly, but again, I would maybe tip them out onto a saucer or use the lid of that box. So for example, I've got a list here. Talkback means the little hillock. And if you're stuck for your townland, if you go to the website placenamesni.org and you type in your townland, it gives you the meaning of it and several different spellings. Clinty cracking meadows of skin. Now, I don't know whether that means it just looks like skin or they actually have a leather industry there, I'm not sure. So we'll just do a simple one. We'll do Talkback. Basically, you have to find all your letters here. Okay, so it took me a while to find all my letters here, but now I have most of them just sitting here. So Talkback, you just need to make sure you haven't put it upside down. So again, use your spare bit of clay to press it into. And you can put it in a circle, or you can I'm just going to use this as a guide. And you might have to use a few of them twice. And if you make a mistake, you've always got a rubber on the end of your finger. And you just rub it out with and start again. Talkback means little hillock. So you can actually write the meaning on it if you want to. Other suggestions maybe, I was thinking about all the plays that went on in the Crack Theatre. So you could, if you were in any of those plays or involved in the productions of any of them, you might want to put those in. Like I know you did The Sound of Music and The Field and Little Shop of Horrors recently. So even if you wanted to put a phrase that you liked or something that you had to say in the play, that might be interesting to remind people of the theatre. As you can tell, I can't do two things at once. Sometimes you spell things the wrong way around. You might even want to make something for yourself. You might want to make your own house sign. Or a number even on your house. You can actually, cut another bit of clay and we can stick it on the top as well. So that's nearly finished. Might just put a few more bits around the outside. Maybe we'll try something different on our cogs. Just try and do something different on each one. Like an experiment. I'll try this one yet. And you see I didn't press that down very well. You can press it down again. As long as you can actually pull it off the clay again, it'll be fine. What you don't want is to leave it there. Because whenever these go into the kiln, it's heated up to about up to 1200 degrees. Sometimes whenever you're glaze firing, and then anything that's organic will just burn out. Oops, two the same. Can't have two the same. Alright, so just show you that close. And I think that's probably all that needs. And maybe if we all make something different, we can sort of piece them all together and see what they look like on the wall. So good luck with that. And don't forget, if you make a mistake, you can just roll it up and start again. There's enough clay in that bag that you've been given to do, a number of things. What I forgot to tell you was that if you don't like it, you can turn it over and you can do another one on the back. You don't even have to rub it out. So as long as you haven't made too, press too hard on the other side, you can use it. So I'm just going to put our letters a bit further out on this one. You don't have to press too hard. You could even put your road on it, the road you live on. So now you can see sort of slightly different version of that. That'll turn into this colour. That's fired. And then if there's a glaze on it, it'll be slightly different as well. Okay, so that's finished, and now you can see the sense of putting them onto a piece of paper, so you can move that about without distorting it too much. You can move it somewhere else. And stick another bit of paper down. This is our bit that we had left over. So maybe that you might want to use your cookie cutter for this one. So you might have a slightly bigger one, well, or you might have a smallish one. And if you're clever enough, you can get a few different bits out of the one bit of clay. So sometimes, you get a raggy edge around things. So very often it's easier to let your clay dry and then clean it when it's drier with a sponge. But you can just run your finger around the edge just to take that very rough and soften it. So, what should we try with this one? That might be too big. I found this old necklace or bracelet. I thought maybe it might make a nice edge on something. And the worst thing that can happen is it sticks in your clay and you have to wash it. Okay, so we have these 3 clay shapes ready for decoration, and I'm going to show you how to join if you want to put something on top of these bits of clay. Now we had our wee bits here that were cut off. They're actually a bit thick to put on top, so you have to roll those just freehand until the clay is a bit thinner. I always tend to peel it off. Sometimes it sticks to this paper. So say you want to do a number for your front door, or just put your number and your name on it. You can put a texture on it. Again, sometimes I use wallpaper. If you've got a bit of textured wallpaper lying around, so say you're number 16. And if you make a big you don't like it, just do it again, just do another one. Say you wanted a bigger one. Now we're going to maybe put texture on the back of this as well. Just put a few leaves on it. Not getting the smell of that. It's lovely. Okay, so where you want to stick, you have to scratch your clay. So basically you're just roughening up the back of it. So turn it over and roughen up the back. Do the same with this one. Sort of figure out where you're going to put them. Just maybe mark a few lines. Again, scratch that back off where they're going to go down. Just helps to stick it down. And paintbrush, a bit of water. And then place your bits on there. Now you have to remember, don't just set them there, because if you can peel them off, they'll come off. They have to be pressed down. And again, it's a matter of pressing it down, not too much to take your texture off. And say you do, right, I'm going to be very extreme and I'm going to press too hard. Well, you're not going to do it any harm, but you're maybe just going to lose your texture. So say if you've lost it and you want to get it back again, if you put your wallpaper back on again and just gently rub it, you'll get the texture back again. So that's if you want to make something for yourself, or again, if you want to make a few of these for our display. Thought it might be nice because they made bricks in Coal Island. They made bricks and they made tiles, as well as things for butter, things to put the milk in to make butter churns. But we could make a row of that might make up a wall of bricks. Again, use your letters for this. We shall use some townlands I'd never heard of before. There's one called Units. It's like a strange name, Units. So you think when you live somewhere, you know all the places that are around you, but it's always good to find something new. This is an easy one because there's lots of S's in it. I think that means a sixth part. Though you don't have to put the meaning on it either, You might just want to leave that one. We could do a lot of sixes on it. Or you could just put sixth. Now, that's going to annoy me there, that's not really in the middle, so I'm just going to show you what you do if you don't like it. So if you don't like it and it's easy enough to rub out, you can rub it out. And try it again. Sometimes when there's too many things around, you just can't find them. Or you could just put your name on it, if you wanted to. Oh, I think I'll just put this one. Oh, I like these cogs. Alright, so I'll just sort of close in or zoom in on these ones so you can see what they look like. So that's our name with our bits of foliage down the side. Number even. Another townland. Just a pattern. You could just put patterns on things if you didn't want to work with the lettering. That's okay too. Now I'm just going to show you one last thing. Alright, so for the last thing I'm going to show you, say if you wanted to make a bowl shape. Now I had hoped to bring lots of different molds with me, but it's not, because of all this COVID and they're too difficult to clean because they're made out of plaster. I thought maybe we could use something that you have yourself. Now it could be a cereal bowl, something like this shape, not too steep-sided. It could be flatter than that. And if you line because it's usually shiny and your clay will stick to it, you can get a bit of cling film and line the inside of your bowl. Now this is the bit of clay we rolled out at the start, and the joy of having it onto a bit of newspaper is that it's taken some of the moisture out of it. It was quite soft, this clay. So you have a fairly big bit of clay there. And what we're going to do is we're just going to place it on the inside of this. So your cling film will roll up a bit, but there's nothing we can do about that. Now you gently just easing it into the bowl shape. And this is what's better if you've got something that's maybe not quite as steep as this. And you can see I haven't any decoration on this yet, but we are going to put a few decorations on it. Now, once you get it pushed in, just make sure you've got cling film where your clay is. Now, once you get it in, just use your thumbs and go round and press it down. Now what you can do, Now you see there I have a bit where I have a bit missed. So you could take this extra bit of clay that's here. Just press it in there. Now you need to make sure that's well pressed in. And smoothed. Now if you take your plastic knife, so not to ruin your bowl, be better using plastic this time rather than a metal knife, and just go around the edge. Until you meet, and then you can peel that off. If you roll your clay up as you go along, then you'll always have a bit more left to use. So you can see that edge is still a bit rough. Let me just smooth it down. You can use a bit of water. Don't put too much water on it, just a little bit. Alright, so there's a bowl shape. Now you can decorate this whatever way you like. I'll try these stamps again. And because this clay is a wee bit softer, it's maybe going to be more liable to stick, so just be careful, just don't press too hard. I'm going to try this round the edge, see what it's like. Again, if you had a shell or something, you could use that. But I'll try this big shell just to see what it's like. So I'll finish this side. One side's going to have this shell, and one side's going to have this big shell. Then you could take your pen cups, or even this leaf shape. and get it to squeeze around it. And because you can't get a roller in here, you just press it in with your hand. So you can kind of see that. I'll just show you that bit again. And say you don't like that, just rub it out. Try that again. If you can sort of see that. And once you've finished your bowl, I just let it sit in there and it'll dry a bit. Now it'll not dry in the back where the cling film is, but if you try and take that out too soon, it'll just fall apart. I mean, I'll show it to you, you can sort of see. So if you let it sit and dry a wee while in that bowl and then just lift the whole thing out when we're ready to put everything back in the box again, and you can have your bowl back. Well, some people actually, like to distort things a little bit, Say if you want an oval shaped bowl, you can just distort it a little bit like that. As long as you find something that you can actually set it into just to hold its shape for a while until it dries. Sometimes I have even just another bowl shape would help. I don't know whether to sit in that or not. Say if you want a bowl that's slightly different shape than a circle. So you can let it sit in that. Okay, so I hope that's given you a little bit of a taster for what you can do with clay, just with simple things that you can find in your own kitchen or out in the garden. It's not like maths homework. I always say to children, it's whatever you want it to be. It can be as creative as you make it. And you can find half these things just in the recycling bin. These bits of cardboard, you can put your own shape out if you want to. They're just from cereal packets. And you can collect your own set of things to texture your clay with. I have loads of things that are made out of jewellery, just for pressing into clay. Old bits of, just costume jewellery or something I've picked up in the charity shop. Door handles, so hopefully whenever you get your box, you'll have a little box of your own of things gathered up, and we can get some nice creative things back again. So if you need to speak to me at all, just give me a ring or send me an email. My contacts, I'll add those onto the email. And look forward to seeing all these beautiful things. Bye bye for now. Alright, so the only thing left for me to say is that cleanup's easy enough. If you keep all your bits on one piece of paper, and maybe just your bowl might have to go at the top. So if you have your board, just take the bits of clay off, and you put everything onto your board that you want to keep. Now anything that you don't want to keep, your spare clay, this might be a bit hard, but even so I can recycle it. If you just roll it into a nice tight little ball, when you've finished being creative, and put it back into your bag of clay, or just put it back into the plastic. So say you'll not have as much as this left, I would think, but you just put it back on the end and just make sure we're all well sealed. So as well as that, then we can put everything back basically where you got it again. Try and make sure all your letters are there. Sometimes they can migrate into your clay because they're so tiny. I forgot to say there's numbers there too if you want to write anything in numbers. Okay. So that goes there. All the things that you were using for and your own pieces, you keep those actually. So that goes back in there. That's in there. Your tools go back into the plastic container. If you can find it. Yeah. Cutters, any cutters that you were using, just put those back into the container. Or the Ziploc bag and zip it up. So and just put everything back. So your box is here. I would start with your clay. Put your clay in at the side. And put your board in. The main thing is not to set anything on top of your bits of clay. Everything else can go into the side. And hopefully by then your little bowl will have dried and you'll be able to take it out of its container. This is not quite dry yet, but even if it's just set onto the side there. And then put your lid back on again. And that's it. Hopefully it'll be collected then and come back to you whenever it's fired. So, hope you enjoyed your clay project, and I'm very disappointed that I wasn't able to meet you all in person and explain all the different ways to do things in person. But maybe when we get all the boxes back and everything's finished and fired, it'll be a little bit safer to meet up and we can do so then. So thanks very much for taking part in this workshop, remote, and I hope to meet you all soon. Alright, bye bye for now.